Olivia sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the pile of neatly printed CVS on her small wooden table. 3 years. It had been 3 years since she graduated, yet she still had no job. She had walked under the hot sun, moving from one office to another, dropping her CV and hoping for a call. But no one ever called. "We'll get back to you," they always said, but the calls never came. Her friends were getting jobs, traveling abroad, or getting married. Meanwhile, she was stuck at home, waking up every day with hope and returning home with disappointment. At night, sleep refused to come. She tossed and turned, staring at the ceiling. She was tired. She was frustrated. She felt lost. "God, when will it be my turn?" She whispered into the darkness. Still, she refused to give up. One evening, after another failed attempt, Olivia walked home feeling drained. Her legs ached, her heart was heavy, and her CV folder felt like a burden. As she approached the house, she noticed her mother standing by the gate, excitement written all over her face. "Olivia, Olivia, my daughter," her mother called, rushing towards her. Olivia's heart jumped. Could this be it? Had someone finally called her for an interview? "Mama, what is it?" she asked, hope creeping into her voice. Her mother grabbed her hands, shaking them excitedly. "You are worrying for nothing. Your solution has arrived." Olivia's grip tightened on her CV folder. "Solution? Did you find me a job?" she asked quickly. Her mother's next words shook her world. "A billionaire has asked for your hand in marriage." Olivia froze. "What?" she whispered. Her mother squealed with joy, spun in circles, and clapped her hands. "Henry, the great Henry, the rich, powerful, and handsome businessman. He wants to marry you, Olivia." She started dancing around the yard, her voice ringing with excitement. "God has done it. My daughter will be a billionaire's wife. No more suffering, no more CVS, no more trekking around looking for work." Olivia felt her stomach tighten. This was not the solution she was looking for. "Mama, I don't even know him," she protested. Her mother waved her hand dismissively. "Who cares? He's rich. He's influential. Do you think you will find a man like this again? A good man is hard to find." Olivia opened her mouth to protest again, but her mother shut her down quickly. "Don't even think of saying no. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. We have suffered enough. This marriage must happen." Everything about Henry seemed perfect. From the moment he stepped into Olivia's life, he swept her off her feet like a dream she never thought would come true. He was handsome, tall, and carried himself with confidence. His deep voice held authority, yet his words were always smooth and charming. He treated her like a queen, opening doors for her, pulling out chairs, buying her expensive gifts, and always holding her protectively whenever they were together. Her friends were in awe. "Olivia, do you know how lucky you are? Men like Henry don't come twice in a lifetime. He's rich, handsome, respectful, and loves you. What more do you want?" Even in church, Henry had won the hearts of everyone. The pastor himself smiled at Olivia after service one day. "My daughter, God has blessed you with a great man. A true leader, humble despite his wealth. Hold on to him." In the neighborhood, people treated her differently. No more casual greetings. No more side comments about her being jobless. Now, she was Madame Olivia, the billionaire's wife-to-be. Everything seemed right, yet, deep inside, Olivia had no peace. She didn't know why she still feels so uneasy. Henry never raised his voice at her. He never showed any sign of anger. He was everything a woman could want in a man. There were no red flags, no signs of trouble, no reason to feel this way. But every time she looked into Henry's eyes, a strange feeling crawled up her spine. A feeling she couldn't explain. Something inside her whispered that something wasn't right. But how could she doubt a man who seemed so perfect? So, Olivia ignored the feeling. She pushed away her doubts and told herself it was just fear of marriage. After all, everyone loved Henry, so why couldn't she? And just like that, Olivia sealed her own fate. Night after night, Olivia lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her mind raced with questions she had no answers to. Why am I feeling this way? Henry is perfect, so why am I afraid? No matter how much she tried to convince herself, she couldn't shake off the fear deep inside her. Her wedding day was fast approaching, yet she had no peace in her spirit. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw herself trapped in a life she couldn't escape from. The thought made her chest tighten. She turned to her side, hugging her pillow, but sleep refused to come. The next morning, as she sat absent-mindedly stirring her tea, Amelia, her best friend, sat across from her, watching her closely. "Olivia, what's wrong?" Amelia finally asked. Olivia forced a smile. "Nothing, I'm just tired." But Amelia wasn't convinced. Tired? "Olivia, you've been like this for weeks. You barely sleep. You look lost in thought all the time. And you don't seem excited about your own wedding. What's going on?" Olivia sighed, staring down at her cup. She wanted to talk. She really did. But how could she tell Amelia that she had a strange feeling about Henry when there was no proof? "I guess I'm just nervous about marriage," she said finally. Amelia reached for her hand. "Olivia, you're my best friend. If something doesn't feel right, talk to me. I'll always stand by you, no matter what." Olivia felt her throat tighten. She wanted to cry. She wanted to tell Amelia that something felt terribly wrong. But instead, she nodded and forced another smile. "I'll be fine, Amelia. I just need to get used to everything." Amelia squeezed her hand. "Okay. Just remember, I'm here for you." That evening, as Olivia sat on the balcony, lost in thought, her father stepped out and sat beside her. For a long moment he said nothing. Then, in a calm voice, he said, "You don't look happy, Olivia." She froze. Her father had always been quiet, observing things from afar. He was not the type to pressure or control her. "Of course, I'm happy, Dad," she lied, forcing a smile. But her father sighed and shook his head. "Happiness doesn't need to be forced, my daughter. I see it in your eyes. Something is bothering you." Tears threatened to spill. How did her father see what no one else could? She opened her mouth, ready to speak. But fear held her back. Would he believe her? Would he think she was being childish? "Dad, I just want to make everyone happy," she whispered instead. Her father turned to her, his eyes gentle yet firm. "My dear, you are the one who will live in this marriage, not us. So tell me, does this decision make you happy?" Olivia's heart pounded. No, it didn't, but she couldn't say it. Instead, she lowered her head, and whispered, "I think so." Her father studied her for a long moment before nodding. "Just remember, Olivia, marriage is for life. Choose wisely." As he stood up and walked inside, Olivia sat frozen. Her father's words echoed in her mind, "Choose wisely." Finally, the wedding preparations were in full swing. Olivia's house was a whirlwind of activity, relatives coming in, decorators finalizing the wedding venue, her mother beaming with joy, and friends gushing over how lucky she was. But Olivia, she felt, off. That afternoon, when Henry arrived to check on the wedding plans, she finally voiced her concern. "You promised to take me to your house," Olivia said, studying him carefully. "I don't want to feel like a stranger in my husband's home on my first day. So, shall we?" Henry's expression stiffened. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then, he forced a smile. "You know what the church marriage counselors said about this, right? It's not necessary before marriage," he said smoothly. "But if you insist, it's okay by me." Something about the way he hesitated made Olivia's stomach tighten, but she quickly brushed it aside. As they drove through the gates, Olivia's mouth parted slightly. The house stood tall, elegant, a true billionaire's home. Yet, why did it feel so cold? The maids greeted Henry with rehearsed politeness, not warmth. Olivia noticed how they avoided his eyes, bowing slightly before hurrying off, but she ignored it. He led her around, showing her the living room, dining area, the extravagant kitchen. Everything looked perfect, until they reached a door in the hallway. Unlike the other rooms, this one had a bold sticker plastered across it in red letters, "Out of bounds." Olivia frowned. "What's in there?" she asked, pointing at the door. Henry's expression immediately changed. He stepped in front of the door, blocking her view, his face suddenly unreadable. "That room is meant for me alone," he said flatly. "No one goes in there, ever." A chill ran down Olivia's spine. "Not even your wife?" she asked cautiously. Henry's eyes darkened for a split second before he chuckled. "Olivia, every man needs his personal space," he said, his voice casual. "It's just my office, nothing to worry about." But something was worrying her. She felt it in the way he stood guard over the door, the way his tone shifted. But she didn't push further, not yet. Later, Olivia sat in the luxurious living room, flipping through channels on the massive flat-screen TV. The silence in the house was almost unnatural. Henry had excused himself to use the restroom, leaving his phone on the glass table beside her. A few minutes later, his phone buzzed. A message flashed across the screen. Before Olivia could even process it, the phone buzzed again. Then again, curiosity pricked her. Who was texting him so urgently? She reached out, about to pick up the phone when Henry's voice boomed from the hallway. "Don't touch my phone." Olivia's hand froze mid-air. She looked up in shock. Henry stormed out of the restroom, his face red with anger. For the first time, he had raised his voice at her. Her heart pounded. I don't like people touching my phone, Olivia." His tone was sharp, his eyes flashing with something she couldn't quite name. "Even your wife." The words slipped out before she could stop them. A tense silence fell between them. Then Henry exhaled sharply and forced a smile. "I'm sorry, love. I didn't mean to shout," he said, reaching for her hands. "It's just a habit. My phone contains important business deals, and I'm very particular about privacy." Olivia nodded slowly, but her heart still raced. This was the first time she had seen this side of him, and it didn't sit well with her. As Henry sat beside her, pretending nothing had happened, Olivia stole a glance at the mysterious door down the hallway. Something was off about this house, and about Henry. She just didn't know what. Yet, Olivia sat before the large mirror, staring at her own reflection. The white gown hugged her figure perfectly. The makeup artist had done an amazing job. Her face looked flawless, glowing like a true bride. Yet, her heart pounded. Today was the day. The day everything would change. She should feel excited. She should be smiling, blushing, glowing with happiness. But instead, she felt trapped. Something inside her screamed. A light knock on the door snapped her out of her thoughts. Bride-to-be, are you ready? It was Amelia, her best friend, already dressed in a stunning chief bridesmaid gown. She walked in with a bright smile, her eyes twinkling with excitement. Before Olivia could even speak, Amelia pulled her into a tight hug. "Olivia, you look breathtaking," Amelia whispered. "I envy you, girl. I pray God gives me a wonderful person like Henry too." She stepped back, holding Olivia's hands, her smile widening. "Be yourself, darling. Wedding is once in a lifetime." But Olivia couldn't return the smile. Her fingers felt ice cold. She glanced at the mirror again, but this time she barely recognized herself. She had spent months trying to convince herself that Henry was the perfect man. He was rich, respected, admired by everyone, but was he the right man? She still had no peace, not even on her wedding day. Amelia frowned slightly, noticing Olivia's blank stare. "Oli," she called softly, "what's wrong?" Olivia snapped out of her thoughts, quickly forcing a smile. "Nothing," she lied, "just wedding jitters." Amelia giggled. "Of course, every bride gets nervous. But don't worry, babe, today will be magical." She turned and picked up Olivia's bouquet, handing it to her. "Come on, let's go. Henry is waiting." "Henry is waiting," the words echoed in Olivia's head. Her grip on the bouquet tightened. She knew once she stepped out of this room, there was no turning back. With a deep breath, she rose to her feet. Her legs felt weak, her heart still raced, but she smiled anyway, because that's what everyone expected. But just as Olivia stood beside Henry, her hands trembling slightly in his firm grip, the priest began the vows, his voice calm and steady. But just as Olivia opened her mouth to complain to him about the grip, Henry squeezed her hand tight. Too tight. He leaned in, his breath warm against her ear, but his words were cold. "You are mine now," he whispered, his tone sharp. "Don't embarrass me in front of my high-class guests. The media, the business elites, my family, they're all watching. Everything must be perfect." Olivia swallowed hard. "Remember the dance I asked you to rehearse?" Henry continued, his fingers pressing into her skin. "I don't take shit, and I have no patience for failure." A shiver ran down her spine. "Do you understand?" Henry asked. Her lips felt dry. She wanted to scream, to run. But instead, she nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "Okay, I will try my best." Henry smiled, the perfect groom for the cameras. The crowd saw love, but Olivia felt a cage closing around her. In the midst of the wedding service, the priest invited the couple for their first dance. Applause filled the room as Olivia and Henry stepped onto the dance floor. Olivia's heart pounded, but she forced a smile. This was it, the moment she had dreaded. She took a deep breath and began to move gracefully, swaying to the slow rhythm. Then, Henry's voice sliced through the music like a blade. "What are you doing?" he hissed, his face darkening. Olivia froze, confused. "I told you I don't want this local church dance. Can't you do something elegant? Something that fits into my social class?" His voice was sharp, laced with irritation. The room had gone quiet. All eyes were on them. Embarrassed, Olivia tried to adjust, to move in a way that might please him. But before she could react, Henry's hand shot out. Slap! A loud gasp filled the hall. The force of the slap made Olivia stumble slightly, her cheek burning with pain. She held her face in shock, staring at Henry, who now looked furious as if she had humiliated him. The whispers started. Did he just slap his bride? Oh my God! In front of everyone. This is embarrassing. Silence fell over the hall, except for Olivia's racing heartbeat. And then, in that very moment, everything became clear. This wasn't just a slap. This is my future if I stay. A future of humiliation. A future of control. A future of pain. Slowly, with quiet dignity, Olivia lifted her hands and removed her veil. Murmurs spread through the hall as she bent down, slightly lifted the hem of her gown, and walked towards the priest. She took the microphone from his hand, turned to face the stunned guests, and spoke, her voice steady, but filled with emotion. "I am a woman of dignity, and this humiliation is not what I signed up for. Instead of staying in an abusive marriage, I choose freedom." A stunned silence filled the hall. Then, Olivia turned around and walked out. The gasps grew louder. Henry's face turned red with rage. "Would you come back here?" he bellowed, his voice echoing through the hall. "I've paid my dues, and you have exchanged vows with me." Olivia never turned back. With her head held high, she walked out of the wedding hall, leaving behind a room full of whispers, shocked guests, and Henry, the husband. Then, she heard fast footsteps behind her. She turned to see Amelia, her best friend, running towards her, out of breath. "Olivia, what just happened? Are you okay?" For the first time since the slap, Olivia let out a shaky breath. "I finally made the right choice, Amelia," she whispered. I walked away. Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes, and she grabbed Olivia's hands. "I'm so proud of you," she said. "You did what many women are too afraid to do. But what now?" Olivia looked back at the grand hall one last time. Through the open doors, she could see Henry standing there, his fists clenched, his face red with anger. Her mother stood beside him, pleading with the guests, trying to cover up the disaster. But Olivia felt no regret. "Now," she said, turning away from the life I almost walked into, "now, I start over." The news spread like wildfire. By the next morning, headlines were all over the internet. Billionaire groom slaps bride at the altar, bride walks out. Scattered wedding of the year. Socialite groom publicly humiliates bride. Olivia's brave walk to freedom. A lesson for women everywhere. Olivia's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Some calls were from media houses wanting an interview. Some were from relatives, furious at her for embarrassing the family. And some were from old friends, some mocking, some praising, some just wanting gossip. She ignored them all. Her neighborhood was divided. Some people whispered behind her back. She threw away the opportunity of a lifetime. How many women get to marry a billionaire? And she walked out. She's foolish. What if she never finds another husband? But others, especially the younger women, admired her courage. Her father was the only one who stood firm. My daughter chose her dignity over a marriage of abuse, and for that, I am proud. A month later, Olivia sat at her small wooden desk, her fingers dancing across the keyboard. She was writing her book, A Guide for Women, urging them to walk away from abusive relationships before it was too late. Her cup of tea sat beside her, half forgotten. The room was peaceful, filled only with the sound of her typing. Then the door burst open. Olivia. Her mother's voice rang through the house, shaking with rage. Olivia barely looked up. She was used to these interruptions. "Mom, what is it this time?" she asked, still typing. Her mother stormed in, phone in hand, and shoved it in front of Olivia's face. "Look at this," she hissed. On the screen, a grand, extravagant wedding played. Henry, tall, handsome, and charming, stood beside a stunning young woman, exchanging vows with her. The wedding hall glittered with gold chandeliers, elite guests, and media cameras flashing from every angle. "Do you see that?" her mother seethed. "That could have been you, but no, you walked away. And now another girl is stepping into the place you abandoned, a billionaire's daughter, for that matter." Olivia sighed and leaned back in her chair. "Mom," she said calmly, "I made my choice, and I don't regret it." Her mother's nostrils flared. "But you should. Look at how happy they are. Look at what you threw away, what you couldn't endure. Another smart girl is embracing with a smile." Olivia smiled faintly, shaking her head. "Endure," she repeated. "Mom, marriage is not a prison sentence. I won't marry a monster who must wear diamonds on my neck." She turned back to her laptop. "If she's happy, then good for her. But I stand by my decision." Her mother scarfed and stormed out, mumbling under her breath. But then, the untold happened. The next morning, the world woke up to shocking news. Olivia's phone buzzed non-stop. People sent her the news. Her hands trembled as she clicked on a video report. The reporter's voice was serious. It was supposed to be the wedding of the year, a union between two wealthy families. But what started as a fairy tale ended in bloodshed. Sources revealed that the bride was found lifeless in Henry's mansion after allegedly entering a mysterious room and ruled out of bounds. Olivia's heart pounded. The same room she had seen, the one Henry had refused to let her enter. The same room that had given her chills. The same room that might have been her grave if she had stayed. She dropped her phone, her breath shaky. Her mother stood frozen, the color draining from her face. "Oh my God," she whispered. For the first time, she had nothing to say. Olivia slowly turned to her. "Now do you see, Mom?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother looked at her, eyes filled with shock and shame. And for the first time since Olivia walked away, her mother did not argue, because the truth had spoken for itself. The police investigation unveiled Henry's dark secrets. Inside the forbidden room were munitions and the pictures of the people he had murdered in cold blood. His entire wealth had been built on deception, crime and bloodshed. The media went wild. Olivia stared at the television screen, watching Henry being led away in handcuffs. She felt no hate, no regret, no sadness, just relief. Instead of hiding away in shame, Olivia took a bold step. She started speaking out. She granted interviews, fearlessly recounting her journey, from being a naive bride-to-be to a woman who walked away just in time. And as she spoke, something happened. Women began to come forward, sobbing, confessing, revealing their pain. I stayed because I was afraid of what people would say. A woman cried during one of Olivia's public talks. My father said a woman must endure, even if her husband beats her. Another wept. And then, to Olivia's surprise, men also stepped forward. I'm a man, and I was abused too, one admitted, eyes filled with shame. She hit me, controlled me, made me feel worthless. And I stayed because society says men should never complain. For the first time, Olivia realized this wasn't just about her. This was about so many people who suffered in silence, too afraid to leave, too afraid to speak. She had found her purpose. She became a voice against abusive relationships, teaching women and men to recognize red flags before it was too late. Her name, once trending for a broken wedding, was now trending for inspiring courage. And one day, as she stood before a massive crowd, looking into the eyes of survivors, she smiled and said, "If walking away from a wedding saved me, then I hope my story helps you walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. Because no woman or man deserves to be trapped in abuse. No amount of money, no level of social class, no fear of shame is worth your dignity." She took a deep breath, lifting her microphone. Let's say nitrogen monoxide to domestic violence. Let's be sensitive to red flags. And most importantly, let's choose freedom over fear. The crowd erupted in applause. Some cried, some cheered, some held each other. And Olivia, she stood tall, unshaken, unbreakable. Because she was no longer the girl who almost married a monster. She was the woman who walked away and found her voice.
Hello besties. What are your takeaways from this story? Please share them with us in the comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts. There are even more interesting stories waiting for you on this channel. Check the description below for the links to those videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and become part of our amazing community.
Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. I love you.